you please state your name, spelling your last name for the record?
My name is Jessie Duran. Duran is spelled D-U-R-A-N.
Tell us a little about yourself, Jessie.
Well, I'm 15. I'm a freshman at Torrey High School. I live in Midlands. I've lived here my whole life. It's just been me and my mom. I've never really had a dad, but in my mind he's a war hero, and that's my inspiration why I want to be in the military after I graduate.
Jessie, do you know why you're here?
Well, when I was 11, my best friend Sydney and I were playing with a gun in our home. There was an accident. She passed away.
Well, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but first, could you please explain to the members of the jury who Sydney Park is?
Sydney Park was my next door neighbor, my best friend growing up. I could talk to her about things that I couldn't talk to anyone else about. I remember the first time she asked me if I had a dad. And I told her that I didn't have one, and I thought she was going to laugh and make fun of me, but she just smiled.
Objection relevance. Sydney's conversation about having a father with Jessie Duran makes no fact in this case more or less probable.
I mean, well, I don't think you're wrong. This is still preliminary. I'll let it go a little longer, but you know, get to the meat.
Yes, sir.
Basically,
How much time did you spend with Sydney Park?
Sydney and I, since we were neighbors, spent a lot of time together. We walked to and from school, and then afterwards we would play at each other's houses all the time.
Well, could you tell us why you and Sydney got along so well?
Well, we were both tomboys, so
Objection relevance.
May I respond?
no. I mean, overruled. Like it's still early on. Like I said, I was going to give him a little more of a leash. We can hear about the relationship. Go ahead.
Could you please tell the members of the jury why you and Sydney seem to get along so well?
well, we were both tomboys growing up, so we liked action movies and sports and video games.
Now, earlier you said that there was an accident on August 18th. Do you know whose gun you were playing with?
It was Sydney's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Harps.
Well, to your knowledge, where was the gun?
It was in a safe in Sydney's mom's bedroom.
Was the safe locked?
Yes, it was.
So how did you and Sydney get to the gun?
The combination, Sydney knew where it was written down at, and we used it to open the safe.
Well, the combination, how did you know where it was?
Sydney told me about it.
And where did you find the combination?
It was in the office. They use it as a guest room sometimes. It was in a file cabinet drawer.
Was the cabinet drawer, was it high or was it lower to the ground?
It was low to the ground. It was in the bottom drawer.
And once you got the combination, did you open the safe?
Yes.
Well, what happened once you opened the safe?
Well, we saw the gun in there.
And how did you even know that the Parks had a gun?
Sydney told me about it.
How did you know where the safe was?
Sydney told me about that too.
How did you know where to find the combination to the safe?
Well, Sydney knew where it was, so once she told me, we both wanted to see it, so we went and got it.
After you saw the gun inside the safe, what did you do?
We got it out of the safe.
And once you and Sydney got the gun out of the safe, what happened?
Well, we checked to see if there were any bullets in it, and we opened the cylinder and there wasn't any bullets in there, so we just posed with the gun around the house, and after a little bit I got bored, so I went into the living room and I decided to put on some cartoons.
Did Sydney join you in watching TV?
No, she disappeared for a little bit.
Did you know where Sydney had went?
No, but when she came back, she had the gun and she put it on the table and said we should turn on the PlayStation.
Well, once she put the gun on the table, what happened?
I asked her if she wanted to play roulette in the game, but she just nodded towards the gun and said, let's play it the real way.
Well, did you play it the real way?
Yes.
Why?
Just looked like Sydney really wanted to play. I was really nervous, but I didn't want Sydney to think I was scared, so I told her I was only going to play one round.
So after you agreed to play just one round with Sydney, what happened?
Sydney went first. She picked up the gun and spun the cylinder. She aimed it at me and the gun clicked and nothing happened. And then she slid the gun to me.
So after she slid the gun over to you, what did you do?
I picked up the gun just like Sydney. I was looking at her to make sure I was doing it right. I spun the cylinder. I aimed it, pulled the trigger. The gun went off and there was a loud noise. My ears started ringing and it pushed me back. I closed my eyes and when I opened them, Sydney was on the floor and she was bleeding. Just dropped the gun and cried. Didn't know.
You didn't know what, Jesse?
I didn't know that the gun was gonna go off. I didn't even know it was loaded.
Well, did you know that guns were dangerous?
Absolutely, my mom always taught me that guns are extremely dangerous and that I shouldn't take the video games seriously because in reality, guns ruin people's lives.
So, Jesse, if you knew that guns were dangerous, why did you play roulette on that day?
Just looked like Sydney really wanted to play. Didn't understand until it actually happened. I know what my mom taught me, but it was an accident. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Park. I didn't mean to hurt Sydney or anybody else. I just want my best
Objection
friend back.
substantially more prejudicial than probative.
Why?
Her apology to Mrs. Park is substantially and actually only being used to prejudice the jury.
Overruled.
At this time, Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Cross-examination?